All right, so the Muslim scholar and traveler, one of the greatest travelers in all of world history, Ibn Battuta. So Ibn Battuta was from what would be now Morocco, and he arrived in Mali, in the Mali Empire, in 753 or 1352, depending on what calendar you're using. So it would be 1352 AD. We always need to remember AD does not mean after death. It means Anno Domini, or in the year of our Lord. But the AH, the other one, when I said 753, that would be following the Muslim calendar. And so 753 AH, it's Anno Hagire, or sometimes referred to as after the Hijra. And so the Hijra AH is, or after the Hijra. Hijra is when Muhammad made his journey from Mecca to Medina in 622. So generally, you're going to see about 620-year difference between the Islamic calendar and the Christian calendar. So when Ibn Battuta goes into the Mali Empire, though, it is past the years of Mansa Musa. Now, he does sort of mention Mansa Musa, and he talks about him in pretty glowing terms of his kindness to the Arabs. But the current Mansa, when Ibn Battuta is there, is Mansa Suleiman, and he finds him miserly, not as generous. And we get a little indicator of the travelers of that time, sort of what they expected, especially if you were a well-trained scholar or famous in your region. You would expect people to be very, very generous to you, not just allow you to stay, but also offer you gifts. Ibn Battuta also gives us this image of the people there in the Mali Empire. And in his eyes, he finds them very pious, very dedicated to their Quranic studies, the study of the Quran. But he also doesn't like some of what maybe you would consider more traditional African, sub-Saharan African cultural practices. He certainly doesn't like the fact that the women are walking around bare-breasted. He finds that the women are engaging with men in ways that would not happen in his own section of the world, the very northwest corner of Africa, in Morocco. So we kind of see that even within the religion, where of course Mansa Suleiman and his people are, not all of the people had converted to Islam, but many of the people were Muslims, and of course Ibn Battuta was as well. But even within the religious practices and religious views, you see differences in culture by the different region between Saharan Africa and sub-Saharan Africa. He also talks about this. He loves the fact that there's very little fear of robbery in the Mali Empire, and this speaks to the way that the Mansas really focused on, we need to create this safe trade, and if you can do that and not have to, when you're on your camel caravan, not have to be worrying about being attacked, that's going to be conducive to trade. He also speaks of the 300 slaves at Mansa's ceremonies, giving the indicator. He doesn't also seem to really make a big deal of that. It's almost like the slavery it just goes without saying, and he's seen it in other places in Saharan and sub-Saharan Africa. So just kind of getting back to the history of the Mali Empire in general real quick, it begins to kind of crack in the 15th century. Tuareg nomadic groups actually seized Timbuktu, and Timbuktu was this city that was very, a trade center, but also a religious and educational center. And Tuareg nomads took that. Later in the 15th century, the Songhai took Timbuktu. And Songhai really, it had been a vassal state of Mali, but it begins to sort of have these uprisings, and they take power. So then you see this this third of the three. So you have Ghana, Mali, and Songhai in terms of these three major African empires in the medieval and early modern period. So I think that we'll leave it at that. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.